year when I performed for you, and I'll say it again now. It feels so good to be back to the school that I have considered my home for 5 years. 5, because I loved high school so much, I just had to repeat my 4th year. We'll get to that later. Homecoming always inspires the rich feeling of nostalgia, of reminiscing the old days, of remembering and telling stories of carefree, trying, sometimes silly, but altogether unforgettable youth. Stories that either make me go, ooh, was that me? Or, ew, was that me? These stories remind me of the person I was then, who I wanted myself to be, and who I am now, and see how close or how far I've missed my target. I'd like to share some of these stories with you in the hope that you can find something that you can relate to, pick up a lesson or two, or at the very least, share a laugh as I take you through how high school unfolded in my eyes, and how my teachers and mentors helped shape and discipline me, strengthen my talents and values, and inspired me to dream and dream big. The story begins more than 10 years ago. Yes, I'm that old, in 2002. A time when we would all try to be first in line at Circulas so that he could give us the newest and the least wrinkled textbooks. A time when mobile and broadband internet were unheard of, and all 10 computers at the school library shared one dial-up internet connection, and at that time it was already fast. A time when a 500 peso stipend made us feel like we hit the lottery every month. How much is the stipend this year? Wow, you guys are making a killing. A time when classes were held 1 hour each from 7 o'clock to 6 p.m. with 15 minutes for recess and 30 minutes for lunch. Hardcore schedule was hardcore. A time when the voice of Miss Gonzalez was the most effective and the sweetest alarm clock to wake you up every morning. It was 2002, and I was an average sophomore student. Like any teenager, I was angsty, barely focused, and unmotivated. I rarely got my numbers right. I remember Ma'am Biduya often scolding me in math because I couldn't get my numbers right. And I did just enough, barely enough, to survive my tests and exercises. In other words, a lot. Or you could say a derp. I was a derp before it was cool. I felt and acted average. I tried hard to focus on my studies, but for some reason, I just could not put my head in the game. I was heavily uninspired. Until one day, an inspiration hit me and turned my world upside down. All of us here are no strangers to the feeling that you get when you meet a crush for the first time. You break into a cold sweat. Your inner Sharingan triggers, and the world literally stops as you marvel at the beautiful creature standing before you. I saw her for the first time, actually at the 3rd floor, at that hallway over there. I saw her for the first time, prim and proper, killer chinita features just like Mrs. Martizano. Coincidentally, she was Mrs. Martizano's student, or she was her, Mrs. Martizano was her advisor back then. Killer chinita features, a voice that could melt hearts, and long black hair that could easily pass for a Pantene commercial. And I knew back then that I was in love, or so I thought I was. Her name, in the interest of anonymity, was JM. And I was completely determined to win her heart. I thus began my silly attempt at earning JM's attention. She was a batch older than me, but since when has age ever stopped true love from blossoming? So, I started to follow her around. I found out her locker number and began to write her love letters in different stationaries every single day. I found out her daily schedule. I noticed where she would pass during breaks, and I would go ridiculously out of my way just to say, "Hi, JM." I think this nowadays. It's called stalking. Embarrassing as it was, I became a hopeless romantic stalker. But little did I know that the stalking skills that I earned in that one-sided love affair would greatly help me in bigger challenges later on. JM was insanely good at math. I wish I was too, but there was no way in heaven I could be a math whiz overnight. Eventually, last week came along, and the legendary Ma'am Sarah, Ma'am, hello if you're there, announced an essay writing contest about math. I remember the theme so vividly. It goes like this: critical and creative thinking through mathematics for responsible citizenship. How cheesy can you possibly get? I joined the contest, fueled by my desire to win and be seen by JM, as I would hopefully be awarded the win here on the stage. I eventually won first place, but not JM's heart. Thank you. JM was not in my league. And no matter how hard you try, there are some things in life that you cannot force. Sometimes they just fall into place. One day, I got over JM. And as I fell out of the love spell, I fell into place with what would be the most formative, meaningful, and definitive experience of my high school life: the Makati Science Vision. Now, coming up from being inspired and achieving a milestone, winning that essay writing contest, no matter how small it was back then, it inflamed me with a renewed sense of direction. I discovered that, like my mother, I also had a knack for communicating through the written word. But I realized that it was a muscle that had to be exercised and honed properly. And I knew just where to find the training I needed. Toward the end of 2002, I walked into the press room. Sir, I know you remember this. And I introduced myself to Mr. Alexander Escote. I know Mr. Escote isn't exactly the most cordial at first, but I told him that I wanted to join the school paper. I was filled with so much enthusiasm. He quickly retorted, saying that the paper had already been published and that no positions were available. I literally begged him to take me under his wing. I volunteered for positions that didn't even exist: encoder, dishwasher, mopper, cleaner. I was willing to do anything to be trained. Eventually, Sir Alex softened up and asked me to write an essay. A few sessions later, Sir Alex still gave me a rejection, but still, he told me to sharpen my pencil and try again the following year. I did not give up. I prepared. I read manuals of style and various journalism books. I wrote about anything that struck my interest. As I formed my own writing style, I studied newspapers and magazines and how journalists frame their stories. I wanted to write. I wanted it with all my heart. In 2003, we're getting there, I went through the grueling battery test and was accepted as the features editor of the Makati Science Vision. And so began a kinship that pushed me to the limits and beyond, to learn and wield the power of the written word. The Makati Science Vision is no ordinary organization, mostly because the way we worked was by no means ordinary. As staffers, we were expected to have impeccable writing and speaking grammar, write 3 full-length articles every week, and participate in overnight editorial works each weekend, sacrificing what would be a typical Friday night out at power plant to burn our midnight oil and write 5 articles per session. Actually, I slept through most of them, but I delivered anyway. It was hard for many to understand the work that we put in for a publication that came out nearly once a year. To this, I echoed the words Sir Alex used to motivate us when we felt that the load was too great. You are what you could do more out of your busy schedule. Let me say that again. You are what you could do more out of your busy schedule. To squeeze and strive harder, to write more, to stay longer was the name of the game if we wanted to be the best. And so I did. I wrote longer and did my best to work smarter. I stayed not just every weekend, but almost every night to revise and sharpen my craft. I spent virtually every free time I had at the press room, writing, rewriting, and consuming all forms of media available. Thankfully, our efforts paid off. The Makati Science Vision was awarded the Best School Paper of the Year, and my page, the Best Features and Literary page in the country. With the help of the Makati Science Vision and another English teacher very close and dear to my heart, Miss Milagros Mabini, I passed the screening for a one-year scholarship grant to the States under the AFS Youth Exchange and Study Program, the first of its kind in 25 years. With my renewed values, skills, and discipline, I served as an ambassador of goodwill of the Philippines to the US and gained a heightened sense of multicultural understanding and intercultural communication. Upon my return back to the Makati Science High School, I was more than determined to give back to the school what it has given me through my student exchange experience. I went back to the Vision, served as the editor-in-chief in my 5th year, and earned both the Cartoon Network Award and the Chidora Valencia Outstanding Campus Journalist Award for the school in 2005. Fast forward to 2006, I graduated from the Makati Science High School in 2006, spending almost 6 years since I entered it for the first time in 2001. I told you I loved high school so much. Before closing the book, I joined a few other contests apart from writing just to diversify. Bigasan, Shakespeare, Brain Olympics, Battle of the Bands, and even a beauty pageant. And I was thankful to have been blessed with top-notch victories in all of them. But I will always look back fondly at two pivotal moments that truly made a difference in my life. Back at the time when I didn't know what I didn't know. The romance of a failed infatuation has taught me to have an intense attention to details, i.e. stalking. And to dare to be bold in the name of someone or something you truly desire with all your heart. By the way, JM is already married with 1 kid. She's selling online. To this day, I still know stuff about her. Old habits die hard. As my good friend Aristotle put it so succinctly, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence in however way or form you see it is not an act, but a habit, a way of life. You can't wake up one day and just tell yourself, oh, I will be excellent, starting now. It just doesn't work that way. Excellence is a muscle that you exercise diligently, gradually, every single day. The Makati Science Vision provided a platform for that exercise and so much more. The training that I received equipped me with a very particular set of skills. Skills that I have successfully used as I worked my way through a college scholarship and in my current career as a communications professional. I'm not the same person I was in high school. I'm more cautious now and slightly more behaved. And I take less risks now than ever before. Maybe for better, maybe otherwise. Who knows? I'm still writing the story of my life. But as I move forward, I keep the lessons I've learned at that very special stage of my life. Lessons that I now share with you. Talent coupled with hard work leads to excellence. But if you want to shortcut that route, you have to either be incredibly, innately, and effortlessly brilliant at one thing, or work harder, stand taller, and look better than your peers, leaving no room for mediocrity. It's your choice. Learn to have fun while getting the job done. That way it stops becoming a job and starts being a joyful task. In the age of information, ignorance is a choice. Trust me, you have it way easy with all the internet going on. So there's no excuse for you not to know Justin Timberlake's recently revealed secret talent, that hipsters are the new emo, and that Gangnam Style was so last summer. Learn your math lessons by heart. Not necessarily the algebra and geometry, but the discipline of putting facts together to derive the truth. Unlike communications and the humanities, mathematics is an exact science. Train yourself to find the facts, because facts drive integrity. If there's a time in your life that is best suited for taking risks, it's right here, right now, in high school. Because there's nothing like that stage in your life where you don't know what you don't know yet. You only go to high school once. Heck, you only live once. So carpe that diem and be yourself to the maximum. Find someone or something that will inspire and push you. A crush, a stage mother, a mentor, or a friend who will never stop motivating you to do better than what you've done today or the day before. Because at most times, the biggest block in the way of us and our goals in life is our very selves. And we need someone to push us against ourselves and help us break our own self-imposed barriers. Whatever you do it with love. I leave you with this one last nugget, a guide I should say, that may help you find your way in whatever journey you might be. This was rumored to be found in an old church in 1692, but was actually written in 1927 by another friend of mine, Max Ehrman. And as cheesy as it may sound, it could not be more relevant than today. Go placidly amid the noise and haste, and remember what peace there may be in silence. As far as possible, without surrender, be on good terms with all persons. Speak your truth quietly and clearly, and listen to others, even the dull and ignorant. They too have their story. Avoid loud and aggressive persons. They are vexations of the spirit. If you compare yourselves with others, you may become vain and bitter, for there will always be greater and lesser persons than yourself. Enjoy your achievements as well as your plans. Keep interested in your career, however humble. It is a real possession in the changing fortunes of time. Exercise caution in your business affairs, for the world is full of trickery. But let this not blind you to what virtue there is. Many persons strive for high ideals, and everywhere life is full of heroism. Be yourself. Especially, do not feign attention. Neither be critical about love, for in the face of all aridity and disenchantment, it is as perennial as the grass. Take kindly the counsel of the years, gracefully surrendering the things of youth. Nurture strength of spirit to shield you in sudden misfortune, but do not distress yourself with imaginings. Many fears are born of fatigue and loneliness. Beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here. And whether or not it is clear to you, no doubt the universe is unfolding as it should. Therefore, be at peace with God, whatever you conceive Him to be. And whatever your labors and aspirations, in the noisy confusion of life, keep peace within your soul. With all its sham, drudgery, and broken dreams, it is still a beautiful world. Be careful, strive to be happy. Today marks the beginning of your English week, where perhaps one of you may begin writing your own stories the way I did not so long ago. I wish you the best in all the activities lined up this week, and hope that you join and excel in as many activities as you can. Remember, you are what you could do more out of your busy schedule. Thank you so much for having me here. Good morning once again.